Okay, so let's start. Everyone has joined. Okay, yeah. So I'll create a blank report. Okay, I'll create a blank report. Okay, Mr. Manas, let me get your question right again. Okay, so you are asking how to import the Excel file in Power BI, right? Am I correct?
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah. So you know that is always the first step on how you connect with your data. You can have a lot of different data sources, maybe Excel, SQL, online web page data. Okay, there are plenty data sources. So the first way is to click on get data, and then you can select from where you want to get the data. Okay, if you want some other option which is not present here, you can click on more. Click on more. It takes some time to load. So once you click on more, and then you can check from here. Right, so many data sources, plenty data sources are there. Okay, so we'll just click on the first one, which is Excel, and then click on connect. Or the same thing you can do with the shortcut, which is you can see on the screen, import data from Excel. Right, import data from Excel. So I can click on this, or just a second. Yeah, click on import data from Excel. So the same thing is going to appear from where you want to take the data, or you can see there is another shortcut. Just beside get data, click on Excel workbook. Okay. So currently you have three different ways to import, right? But all of them, they lead to the same source, okay? The same thing. So it will ask you where is your Excel file. So just browse for the file. Power BI files, data files. Yeah. And then Power BI data. Right? And then click on open. Now I can see it will take some time to load the data, and once it has been loaded, and then there will come this page. Okay, so I hope Mr. Manas, you are able to understand how we imported the data, right?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I have to do that practical, then
Yeah,
I'll
yeah, yeah,
be
exactly.
understand
No
well.
problem. I understand. So HPI admins, select the data, click on load. So once you click on load, okay, once you click on load, here we have the data now. So what we did was, okay, I'm using a lot of software, so it will take some time for me to load. If you want to use Power BI for a long time, you make sure your laptop is i7 and you have minimum of 8 gig RAM. It's very important to have a minimum 8 gig of RAM.
Fish. I said I'm learning. Okay.
Let me check. Just give me a second. Let me restart my Power BI. So I'm doing the same steps again. I'm using pretty heavy softwares in the background, so that's why it's taking time. Power BI itself is a very heavy software. And the team for Microsoft Power BI, they every month, like almost every month, if not every month, at least in 2 to 3 months, they release a new version, and that's something which is good, but sometimes it's really difficult to keep on catching up, because sometimes they change the particular representation or the icon. Okay, and it's really difficult for the new students to understand, to navigate, because you are trying to teach in a different way according to the old model or the old interface, and now they have changed the interface. So it keeps on changing, so it takes time to catch up. It's taking more time than usual. Okay, it's loaded. Region name, then sales volume, okay. So you can see we have region name and sales volume. Now what it has done in the background is, if you go to the data, for all the region names, okay, for all the region names of, you can see Great Manchester, Merseyside, South Yorkshire, it has actually calculated an sum, total sum. You can see there we have so many different regions. Northeast, Northwest, then we have Midlands, South Yorkshire. Okay, Mr. Prince. Okay. So what it has done is, of all the rows which has the region name as Great Manchester, of all the rows with the name as Great Manchester, it has calculated the total sum. Right? And then it has added all the sales volume and calculated the total sum. Okay. Now let's go on to the next step. Okay, before the next step, we forgot to save it. Okay, Control S. First visualization underscore Chaitanya. You can use either Z or S. It depends if you are using British English or US English. I will save it in. My downloads. You can see the extension of the Power BI file is .pbix. So in future, if whenever I'm going to share a file with the name as with an extension as .pbix, you can assume that this is an Power BI project file. It has everything. So if whenever I share the file, it will have all the reports, data, and everything. Okay. Let me just save it. Now you can see at the top, the name is appeared, first visualization underscore Chaitanya. So in your visualization panel, okay, let me minimize these two so that you don't get confused. Yeah, in the visualization panel, when I click on this, you can see currently your table is highlighted, and if I scroll down and if I check, the columns are region name and sum of sales volume, right? You can even see here region name and sum of sales volume. Now let's try to do a different thing. Let me change this table to stacked bar chart. Okay, I'll change this to stacked bar chart. Now you won't have columns, right? This is a diagram, so you won't have columns. What you will have right now is x-axis and y-axis. So y-axis, you have the region names, right? Great Manchester, West Midlands, West Yorkshire, all this are on the y-axis, and on the x-axis you have sum of sales volume, right? So all this, it keeps on changing depending upon what diagram or chart you have selected. Let's try with the pie chart. See, when I click on pie chart, the legend, it means the categories are region name. So the divided part, which is called as legend, is region name, and then the values are sum of sales volume. Same it goes for donut chart. Okay. Now if I have a column chart, let's see a column chart. See, the column chart x-axis is the region name, y-axis is sum of sales volume. Initially, it's difficult for the students who don't have experience with Excel or Power BI to understand what is happening. But if you check the notes, I have given notes, and then you can try your hands on, okay, so that you get familiar with the Power BI user interface. Okay, and then we can continue. Okay, so the rest, before we continue, I want everyone to practice this. Okay, so what I'll do is, today is the second day. Okay, today is the second day, and I think it's good if we stop at this point, and then I give you time to install Power BI. For those who have not installed, take your time to analyze the data, how to import the data, and you can try the diagrams. You can see there are different diagrams, so many different diagrams. And what I would suggest you is, maybe you, if it is allowed at your end, you can take the data from your work, where you are working, take the data, import the data. If it's an Excel workbook, well and good, just import the data, get the data, and try to work around. Initially, you won't understand how the things are working. That's why I want you to try things by yourself, because when I will teach in the next class, that time it will get clear. So I want to try it. I want you to try all these things what you have done, and you should have doubts in the next class, right? If you don't have doubt, it means you didn't practice. Okay, you should have doubts. In India, we say this: if you don't have doubts, it means you are not practicing. Okay, either you have a very good memory, you have understood everything, or you have not understood anything at all. that are only two possibilities. Okay, so I expect in the next class you will ask doubts. Okay, but for now, until now, whatever we have learnt, so anyone can just ask me doubts so that we can clear them here itself. Okay, today we are closing a little bit early because I want you to give time, and if I go ahead with the next syllabus, it will be too much in one day, right? Because you are trying to understand the user interface. Okay, so I want to give you time to understand user interface, and then we will continue with the lectures in the next week. Yes, so if anyone has any doubts, please, before we close for today.
Especially today, what I understood, I think from this the Excel file, you have selected only two names. And
Yeah,
that what
from
we are
the Excel
presenting.
file, I have selected only two columns. Perfect. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So what if you will select all the things?
Yeah, that's true. It's correct. Now it depends on what data you have, what you are trying to represent, right? In a
Okay.
in a table, right? In a table, I can have so many columns. I can have 1,000 columns. 10,000 columns, maybe 2 columns, 1 column, right? So for example, we have now region name, we have sales volume, and what I will add is let me add 12. Okay, let me add this. Let me add the average price of this. I'll just click on it, you can see, and one row has automatically been added. And if I want to add one more column, let's suppose flat price. What is the flat price? You can see it has been added. Now the thing is,
Right.
in a table you can have multiple columns, but suppose you want a bar chart. Let me go to a bar chart. You can see. Now because it is a bar chart, you have 3 categories. One is sales volume. You can see on the right side in the visualization panel. You can see where my mouse is on the right side. If I scroll down, on the y-axis I have region name. On the x-axis I have sales volume, average price, and flat price. Sum of all of them. Sum of sales volume, sum of average price, sum of flat price. Right? And because this is a stacked bar chart, all the values are going to be stacked on top of each other. Okay.
Is there any special guidelines or something like that for which data, which chart you have to select, or any chart you can select?
So it's a good question. There are no guidelines. The thing is, the interesting part about data analysis is, now there are 5 students in this class. Sorry, 6 students. Even if I give guidelines, and even if I give the same data to all of them, there is no possible way that all of you will create the same chart, same report, or same dashboard, right? Now it depends upon your knowledge, how good you are with the diagrams, how good you are with your representations, and how good you are with understanding the data. Okay. Now the same thing I can represent with a pie chart. You can see I can represent with a donut chart. Same thing I can represent with a stacked bar chart, a normal bar chart, a column chart, a normal column chart instead of stacked column chart, right? So if I say that there are guidelines, there are no certain guidelines, because with this data I can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, total 6 different types of charts, right? So there is no possible way that, okay, for certain type of data there has to be a certain type of column, certain type of diagram.
Charts.
Yeah, because it's on you what type of representation you want to show. Now for this, I think a stacked bar chart or a normal like a column chart is good. Okay, if you want to be more broad, you can just use a normal column chart, not a stacked column chart. You can see both are same, but the difference is it is stacked on top of each other. Here there is a separate bar, separate column for separate fields. Now again, another thing is, suppose you don't want to make it complex like this. What I'll do is I'll select outside the diagram. Okay, select outside the diagram. It means unselect the diagram. Okay, and I will add a empty stacked bar chart. Okay, you can see when I click on outside the diagram and I have an empty stacked bar chart. What I'll do here is I'll have region name, the same thing again, region name on y-axis, and then average price on x-axis. So this is my sum of sales volume. This is the sum of average price. I'll duplicate this, copy, paste. Okay, copy, paste. And then instead of average price, you can see on the right side, instead of average price, I'll have here flat price. Okay, copy, paste again. Now here I want detached price. So in detached price, I want to make it a sunburst chart. For average price, I want to make it a column chart. For flat price, I want to make it a pie chart. I know I went a little bit fast. You don't need to worry about this, but I'm just trying to tell you how easily you can manage things. Okay. All these things you are going to be able to do it definitely. So don't worry about now. This is just the second lecture. Plenty things you are going to do. You are going to work on a very interesting project, which is even complex and even interesting than this. Okay. So for now, I'm just trying to tell you how things we can do. So now I want you to try out all these different things by yourself. Even you can try the charts which we have not used yet. Okay, it doesn't matter. So for example, we have this ribbon chart. You can see, you can go online, you can check what is a ribbon chart, try to understand. Then we have the area chart. You can go online and check what is an area chart. Line chart, what is a line chart? Okay, clustered column chart, what is a clustered column chart? So all these things you can try by yourself. Yes, anyone else has any doubt?
Yes, I have a doubt.
Sure.
Yes. You said we can all not get the same charts or the same type of analysis. Everyone's going to be different depending on our understanding
Exactly.
of the data or how we analyze it. But we started yesterday, but you didn't show us how to understand data correctly,
Sorry?
how to take data, how to understand data. Like when we are being given the data, where we have to look at, how to analyze it and understand it to use it to work properly.
Yeah. So are you asking like you want to know how to do that?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
That's
It's a good question. It's a good question. Yeah. Currently we are just trying to understand how the Power BI interface works, right? Because we are going to work on a lot of different data. So with time, when we are going to have a look at the data, currently we are just doing diagrams, charts. So to understanding the data right now doesn't come at this part. You can assume that we are one step ahead. We have skipped one part, which is transform the data. I hope you are attending from the start, right?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So we skipped one part, which is transform the data, right? I was telling about the transform data. So that is the part where we are going to understand how to check the data and how to understand the data. So as you mentioned, what are the key points, how to break down the data, and how we can use the data effectively. So at that part, we are going to understand that. So you don't need to worry about that. I completely understand your question. So understanding the data and using it effectively. That's what your question is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why initially I gave one task for you to do your research, right? So sometimes you might get the data which you don't know. Okay, if we are not, suppose you are not into finance and your company, they gave you a data of finance. So maybe certain terms you won't understand. So you have to go online, you have to make notes, you have to understand what are the technical definitions. And then according to your understanding, you have to keep on breaking it down. Okay, it takes time. It takes time. So we are going to spend a lot of time breaking down certain things. Okay. So initial at least like around 3 to 4 lectures we are going to spend in visualizations, because I want all of you to have good understanding of visualizations. And then after that we are going to come at the part of understanding the data, how to handle the data, if there are issues with the data, how to manage them, data cleaning, data transformation. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll come to that part, don't worry.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, anyone else? Madam Crystal, Mr. Manas, Mr. Prince.
Please, I'm okay.
Yeah, Madam Crystal is my permanent student. She has attended all the lectures, so she's aware. Yeah, so I think we are good for today. So I'll keep the recording. I have actually recorded this lecture, but I need to structure it.